The BRICS Summit of 2023 won't be considering the creation of a new currency to rival the dollar. But why? Well, the reasons are as intricate as they come. Developing a new BRICS currency is not entirely impossible, but it's a colossal task that the BRICS nations have decided to put on hold for the time being. However, it's worth noting that creating a common currency among participating countries has been successfully achieved elsewhere, most notably in the European Union, where the euro has served member states effectively since its inception. Forming a BRICS currency, like the euro in the Eurozone, presents a multitude of challenges. First and foremost, the BRICS countries have significantly different economic conditions. They vary in terms of GDP per capita, inflation rates, fiscal policies, and levels of economic development. To give you some context, China has a much larger and more advanced economy than South Africa. This economic diversity can make it challenging to implement a single monetary policy that caters to all member countries. And, before adopting a common currency, member states often need to meet specific convergence criteria, such as maintaining stable inflation rates and fiscal deficits within certain limits. Achieving these criteria can be a job and a half when there are significant economic disparities among member countries. Secondly, no country would be willing to lose control over its monetary policy. In order to establish a new currency for the BRICS member states, they would need to forfeit their capacity to individually determine interest rates and autonomous control of their money supply. This can be a delicate matter, as it entails ceding a significant aspect of national sovereignty to a central authority. Countries with different economic priorities may resist giving up this control. And how would each state deal with economic shocks, such as recessions or financial crises, which we all know affect each country differently? When a new BRICS currency is in place, member states can't just adjust their exchange rates to counteract these shocks at will. Instead, they must rely on fiscal policies and transfers from the common central authority, which can be politically contentious. Although it's not impossible for BRICS to create a shared currency, it's a pretty challenging task that demands a lot of work. However, the BRICS countries have some other important things on their to-do list, like expanding their group. China is especially eager to make that happen. Interestingly, several countries, including Iran, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Argentina, Algeria, Egypt, Ethiopia, Cuba, and a dozen others have shown interest in joining the BRICS. This suggests that the influence of the BRICS bloc is expanding globally. But with all said and done, all hope is not lost. As an alternative approach, BRICS countries have chosen to settle trade in their own local currencies. For instance, India is making arrangements to settle trade with Saudi Arabia, UAE, and China in rupees through a system known as LCSS, which stands for Local Currency Settlement System. Under this system, exporters get paid in their local currency instead of the dollar. Participating countries engage their banks to perform currency conversion from the importer's currency to the exporter's country's currency. For example, if India were to import oil from Saudi Arabia, the Indian importer pays in rupees to their bank in India, and the Indian bank communicates with its branch in Saudi Arabia to convert the rupees into the Saudi riyal equivalent. The amount is then paid to the Saudi exporter. There is no involvement of the dollar in this entire process. Now the question is, why are countries eager to use the LCSS system? 1. The transaction costs decrease as the use of the American dollar is eliminated from the process. And 2. Nations are seeking to avoid the risk of being sanctioned, as seen in recent events where the United States imposed sanctions on Russia after the conflict in Ukraine. Finally, using local currencies enhances their international status, and trade in domestic currencies is expected to increase with the adoption of LCSS. While the BRICS may not be ready for a common currency due to the complexities involved, the adoption of LCSS has proven to be a viable alternative. This is hastening the drive to decrease dependence on the dollar in transactions between member states as well as with other BRICS allied states. Tell us, Do you think a new BRICS currency could make a big difference in challenging the dominance of the US dollar? We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments section below.